Hey folks, Greg Koch here at Kraft Music in beautiful Franklin, Wisconsin. Deep behind the cheddar curtain, my homelands, ladies and gentlemen. And having fun here today playing some delightful Fishman amplifiers. Of course, I've been involved with Fishman now for about 5 years. And it's been a lot of fun for me to kind of unleash my acoustic side of things. And nothing makes it more easier to do that in a live performance scenario than plugging into what I'm to understand is the greatest selling acoustic amplifiers of all time, or at least at this particular moment in time, which is all we really care about anyway, and that is the Loudbox series by Fishman. And right now I'm plugged into an amp that I have at my home and play quite often, and that is the Loudbox Performer, the big kahuna of the series. There are 3 different iterations. There's the Mini, which is the all-time greatest selling acoustic amp, which we'll get into in a separate video. And there's also the Artist, which is a little step up. So you kind of got your baby bear, your mama bear, and then you got the papa bear, the Performer. Features on the Performer that make it so much fun to indulge in acoustic activities is that it has, in addition to just a glorious way of just amplifying the signal of an acoustic instrument, and there are effects on these amps that make them, well, they're fun to use for one, but it's also more effective for a live performance scenario to make, they just allow you to play an acoustic instrument in a variety of different ways that make it more organic sounding and also to make it more entertaining for the listener as well. Instead of just have a dry acoustic signal, they're able to replicate the sound of an acoustic instrument in a live performance situation like it would be in the studio in terms of having a little bit of extra, reverb or delay, or maybe you want a little bit of chorusing or flange and so on and so forth. But they also do a feature that is very, very cool. All the amplifiers are capable of doing this. You can do 1/4 inch in, which I'm doing right now, obviously, with the guitar. But I could, in either channel, it's a 2-channel amplifier, I could plug in a microphone with my XLR, and it could actually function as a little mini PA if you want to do a solo gig or whatever the case may be. Good for rehearsals, whatever you want to do, you're able to do that. And it's got a full range amenity of speakers. There's a tweeter as well as conventional speakers in there to give you a full range of frequencies, which sounds glorious. But let's talk a little bit about functionality. Right now, I've pretty much got everything flat in terms of I've got the gain at 12 o'clock, the EQ at 12 o'clock. That's where I start off with these amps. And as you can hear, it sounds pretty good. We're going direct out of the back. There's a mixed DI that we're using right now that includes the effects. You can also just do a straight DI out of the back if you don't want the effects. And we're using a little bit of a room mic as well, so you can hear a little bit what it sounds like in the room as well. But I've got the EQ flat, and there's an anti-feedback control. So there's a couple different things right in the amp to help mitigate feedback. That's one of the problems of amplifying an acoustic instrument, obviously. The more you turn it up, the more it's going to start, taking off in terms of feedback and all that other kind of unwanted noises, if you will, or unwanted noise. So it has a phase button on it. So if you hit the phase button, a lot of times that takes care of it in a nutshell. Your guitar starts to howl a little bit. You press the phase button, and it does change the tone a little bit. I'm going to hit that phase button so you can hear what it sounds like. That adjusts the phase, a lot of times takes care of unwanted howling. But there is also an anti-feedback control. And when I first got this amp, it was kind of funny because, of course, it's a rotary dial, like a regular treble or tone control, whatever you want to say. And so my amp started to feedback. So I'm like, well, I want more or less feedback. So I'm just going to crank that thing all the way up. But it's actually a sweep control. So what it allows you to do is when your guitar starts howling, you just simply grab that control and you can find where the guilty party is in terms of a frequency and get rid of it. So both with the phase and the anti-feedback control, it really helps you deal with feedback in a way that's truly revolutionary. On each channel, you can have 2 banks of effects. Right now, I just have a nice room reverb on that same bank of effects, I can do a different delay. I can mess with the time. Okay, I'm going to mess around a little bit with the effects A, which is what you can add to each channel has their own effects A and B, okay? So initially I just had a nice reverb on. Now I can mess with different delays. Mess with a different time. crazy with the delay. But I can put the effects level down a little bit, go to just the echo. Do that kind of a thing. Or I can go back and just have a nice reverb like I had before. I can start engaging the second bank of effects, or effects B, and I do that by pressing this button right here, and that allows me to go through this panel of effects. So there's a couple different choruses if you want your, Care Bear sounds. Nice chorus. There's a flanger on here as well. Okay, if you want to get your 70s on, as the case may be. There's also just a nice slapback delay on here as well. And you can mess with the depth a little bit of that effect. So So as you can hear, it's just a very versatile amplifier that makes it easy to just kind of plug and play. And one of the things I like using acoustic amplifiers for, even obviously they're great for live performance, but it's just great having it around the house as well. If you're primarily an electric guitar player and you play some acoustic guitar, obviously your hands are acclimated to playing an electric instrument which has lighter gauge strings on it and so on and so forth. And when you play an acoustic, especially if you're playing in a room that's kind of dry sounding, you don't have nice wood floors or some kind of room ambience that sounds great. Plugging into an acoustic amplifier is just easier on the hands, and you can practice a lighter touch without having to hit it as hard as you possibly can so you can hear yourself. Because I know that when I go from playing electric to an acoustic, my nails start breaking, and it's just, it can be a little unpleasant. So having an acoustic amplifier for home use is advantageous as, of course, having one for a live performance. So anyways, that's a slight overview of our glorious different Fishman amplifiers. And again, this is the amplifier I have at home, the Loudbox Performer. They make it very, very easy for plugging and playing and engaging in live musical activities. So I hope that helps you on your quest for tone savagery, ladies and gentlemen. Greg Koch here at Kraft Music, beautiful Franklin, Wisconsin. Adios.